Come on, come on, come on. All right. Hey, good evening, LinkedIn. Dave Wilson, the Ring of Hire Show. Hey, real quick before I introduce Brittany, we got a hell of a storm going on out here. So if you hear a lot of thunder, I think that scared Brittany and myself on here outside. The Wi-Fi might come in and off, on and off. Not sure, but we're going to get this show. And if something happens, please, we'll be back. How'd that sound, Britt? Pretty good?
Sound pretty good.
Sounded good? All right, we'll be right back after this. I love those videos.
It's a
I
good video.
I always tell Brett, and I use that Fever app or Fever, whatever you want to call it. And there's one gentleman out in Pakistan. He makes these videos for me. I give him the images, and for $17, that's what he puts it all together for me.
Oh, gotcha.
That is awesome. Hey, tonight, everybody, I want to welcome Brittany Sharnez, all the way from Little Rock, Arkansas. And I was scrolling through LinkedIn, and I saw she was looking for work. And Brittany, why don't you just introduce yourself and what are you looking for?
Well, hi everybody. I'm Brittany. I've been doing digital marketing for about 6 years now. It started off as a college project, and one of my professors let me know that I could actually make a career out of it, and I was like, really? Because at the time I had no idea what I was gonna do.
Right.
I was just in college, just being in college. But when she told me that, I was like, oh, I can actually, make a living doing things that I love to do, but
Nice.
get paid for it now. So I started getting internships, and then I went on to freelancing. I did some marketing for a real estate association, and then I started working for agencies. And right
Right.
now, I'm looking for a new role in digital marketing, hopefully remote friendly, so I can continue to just get broader and
Get by. I have one person out there. Hi, Anne Marie. That's my favorite number one cousin here. She always watches on Facebook, so I always say hello to her. But she's always on all the shows. I love it, because it's really nice for people, and yourself with social media, you got to be engaging. If you're not engaging, you're not going to make it. But explain to me what digital marketing is.
So for me, digital marketing is pretty much marketing across the internet. That's how I personally describe it. So for myself, it would be email marketing, social media marketing. Also, I consider like copywriting, all of that
Right.
content on the internet.
That's awesome. And Rob's one of the great guests. Rob is in Pittsburgh. So how you doing, Rob? Yeah, you definitely want to connect with Rob too. He's a great connection to talk to. Tell me about, you had 6 years experience social media and strategize content for brands, small and large. What do you do for companies with the social media?
Um, I guess it depends on what the client will like ask me to do, but I have done a lot. I've done community management, so that's pretty much me like responding to their comments, responding to any like questions or concerns maybe a customer may have. So I'm doing that. I'm responding to DMs. Also, I'm creating the content strategies, like let them know, like, okay, this is what we'll be doing. I'm creating the content calendars and I'm writing all of the copy. Sometimes I even do the graphic designs or in the video editing. Pretty much everything.
That you do on there. How
Mhm.
important, and I try to tell clients and people that want to learn social media, how important is creating the content? How do you go out and like create the content? Somebody just comes to you, and how do you do it?
Well, the first thing I do is get to know the client and just figure out like who they are or their mission and their values as it pertains to like the brand, so that I can kind of create like a personality. I also want to find out like their goals, like is their goal to get more followers or is it to get more engagement? Do they want more clicks to their links? Like, once I figure that out, I'll be able to like move forward and like, brainstorming content creation
Right. And how do you, we were talking earlier before the show, everybody, and you're very into like the storytelling. And
ideas.
I try to tell people, between the videos, really putting yourself out there, but telling a good story.
Yeah.
People like that, right? There you are. I got your back. But storytelling is important. I mean,
Mhm.
that's part of the success. I'm sure you'll agree with that.
I do. I love stories. I'm a huge movie fan. So, and I love
Awesome.
food. So I'm all about stories.
All right. Well, I got one question before I do. Is I want to talk to you. I know we were talking about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Hmm.
What did you find useful with Twitter versus some? I don't utilize it a lot. I have an account. I told you, with through Hootsuite, it goes there. I don't know whether if anybody even looks at it. I don't know. But
Hmm.
what do you see the use for what you've utilized it for?
I think Twitter is more so about relatability. People aren't really going off of like, like with Instagram and things like that. They're not really going off like how you look and things like that. They're just like going off of like, can they relate to what it is that you're saying? A
That's
lot
right.
of times when you see like a post go viral on Twitter is because other people related to whatever the person who wrote it said. So it's the place for you to really show your personality.
Yeah,
And
that's right. I didn't think of it that way because you're not. Do they? They don't send images, do they?
yeah, you can put yeah, you definitely can put images on Twitter, and like some people do get like really great numbers off of those. Like if my previous client, people were sending them images of cats and dogs because
Oh,
they
you got to tell this story. You have to tell it. Go ahead, tell it. I think
were.
it's funny.
So my previous client was Mutt's Comics, and they're a animal based comic strip. And people were sending them images of their cats and their dogs or even their bunnies. And so one night I was on my client's Twitter account, just like monitoring everything. And so I just started like sharing people's pictures. Like I just thought it was cute. So I was writing back as my client, like, oh, you have a cute dog, or, just commenting. And people started to take notice and they really liked it. And then it made more people send in their pictures. So then there's like all these pictures all of a sudden. And people were like, oh my gosh, this is making my night. So it's just something as simple as that
Right. And
can really
it's,
make a difference.
I can't even, well, with animals, I mean, we all, let's face it,
Mhm.
with animals and everything. But when you told me that, like I said, I don't talk about Twitter that much. I mean, like you said, I didn't think of it that way. It's more like when you put out something negative, sometimes in my business,
Mhm.
it, if it's really a strong subject that people don't agree on, or if you really, they like it. They're more negative sometimes than positive in my experience. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to talk about that all the time. Let's be happy. Um, Talk to me about. We talked about with we maximize one-on-one engagement with targets. You went over to 2,000 and consumer questions within an event, right?
Um, those two things are separate. So I have ran an event, but I have answered over for one agency, like one position I was in, I answered like over 2,000
That's right.
questions.
That's right. And what did you do for that? Tell me. That was a good one. How you did it?
Um, I was a brand manager and I wore a lot of hats in that role. And so some of the things I had to do was communicate. and I had 6 clients. So I pretty much was like answering everyone's questions and concerns. And it was interesting because all my clients were like super different. I had a pharmacy client, so I was answering questions about like healthcare like questions. I had a car dealership client, so I was answering car questions. It's funny because I'm not really like a car person. And adult. So that one had very interesting questions. So just a lot, but I do feel like it helped drive up engagement because I was answering them at faster rates.
Right.
Um, I think like Facebook lets people know, like if you have a Facebook page, it lets people know like, okay, this brand answers your questions within this time, and so we always aim to make sure that we had like a good
For
response.
that.
Yeah, so it was
That makes
great
sense.
thing, fun.
And I also want to take a second here to tell everybody, please, if if you're really interested in Brittany, we're trying to get her back to work here. She's very talented, digital marketing. Reach out to her. I did put her email on the bottom here. They can get on contact with you or connect with you on LinkedIn also. I mean, that's a really good plus too. Can you tell me about calendars and the importance of the calendars with social media?
Mhm. So content calendars are very important because they're important for different reasons. They're important because you want to make sure that content is scheduled out just in case. I don't know, like maybe you want to go on vacation or
I think we froze. You watch. I think we froze. Well, if we froze there, we got a lot of storms going on. I'm not even sure if I'm live right now, but I am going to see if I can reach back out to Brittany. And if it doesn't come back in a couple seconds here, we're going to reschedule this and redo this tomorrow. So let's see what happens here if she comes back. Yep. I think we're going to end it. All right. She's going to be right back. I believe she's signing right back on. Let me check. We have a great storm going on here. So let me see. Let me give her 1 second here. Sign. This is where you sit there and you don't know what to say. But Brittany's a great candidate in Little Rock, Arkansas. And like I said, she has a lot of great skills, social media, public speaking, blogging, and around 6 years experience as a social media professional. And the content, what we were talking about until she gets back on, is content for calendars, which you can schedule out days, weeks in advance. It's not really that hard, and it's really great to do that on social media because you can get that. You won't forget about it. Plan it, set it out, and you're good to go. So she also has a website of her own. It's called BrittanyCreates.net. Here she comes. Hey.
okay.
I was just sitting here talking. We were just sitting here talking.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure what all you heard.
No, that's okay. I was just trying. I was like, you know what? Let's give it a second here. That's okay. I was talking. Tell me about BrittanyCreates.net. That's what I was telling the guest about.
Okay, gotcha. So that is my online portfolio where you can go and see all of my work samples. So you can see I have like several different case studies there. So you can see my Facebook case study, my Instagram case study. My most recent client worked with them. Let's comment my brand makeover.
Right.
I think that one was of my artist client. You see my writing samples, my graphic design samples, my newsletters. I pretty much tried to put all the samples that I could to answer any interview questions because I would get questions asking me like, have you done this? Have you done that? And I wanted to show and tell, so I just put it all on.
That's genius. I mean, right there, that's genius. I mean, it's just like we're talking about now. We're talking with having that website like that, just to be able to tell an employer to go to that.
Yes. And
You
I
don't
also
need,
magazine because I would have sometimes I would have people still not go to my website. So what I started doing, I made a in-person one. It's like a little magazine.
That is awesome.
I would turn this in. So if you like, it's like my resume, and it's I have frequently asked questions. So I took my most common interview questions, and I answered them all here, just in case anybody.
Brittany, you sold me right there. I'm hiring you right now. That right there reminds me, I have a guest on the UK, and he always comes up with creative ways to market himself. And right there, show that again. Tell me what it is again.
So this is like my in-person portfolio. So it's like a mini magazine, pretty much, and it has my resume on here. It has I tell my hobbies and my accomplishments. Like I had a Hootsuite University certification. I have my frequently asked questions. I also show here's a project that I worked on. So I showed like that. I also explained how I analyze social media metrics because I want people to know, like, I love to make things look pretty, but I also know how to read metrics and explain them to clients. And yeah, my content information. So I have that here. And so then also I made a animated resume as well. Like I made that last. So I'm always trying to, because I'm a creative. So I'm always like, what is a creative way that I can tell people that I know how to do this? So
I can tell you're so passionate about that. And Kara right here, I know she's going to ask a question. Kara is awesome with staffing, and she does a lot of interviewing. She's going through the same thing. Kara, I know you're going to have a question for Brittany, but that is genius. I'm sorry, I was just looking at that. That tells me for a company looking for someone to even think of that. I've never thought of that. Mm-hmm. That is what made you do that. You just
when I first graduated, I was getting a lot of feedback that I didn't have enough experience. And so, like, how can I show them I had experience? So I created an online portfolio, which is BrittanyFaith.net. But then I would go to interviews and I would ask, like, oh, have you taken a look at my portfolio? And they're like, oh, I haven't. Well, my hope is that you would have already looked at it before we even met so that we can discuss it. So I thought this solution, this way I can watch you look at my experience in front of me, and then we can discuss it, because I was like, I'm going to show everybody that I have experience.
That
I know.
I've never seen that. Never. And that ceases to amaze me there. I've never seen that. And what a good way when a company's looking for you to say, hey, go to my website, or let me send you a magazine of my portfolio. I mean, that's genius. I got to give it to you there. And that just shows the creativity and that you're thinking about what you want to do. I know I had one here. Oh, here we go. So we talked about the 400 attendance. We didn't talk about the 400 attendance, which raised $50,000, and what you did to do that. Can you explain that story?
Okay, so I was working at a real estate association, which is pretty much like a association where all realtors, they have to join in order to officially be a realtor in that city. And so I was over their awards. So it's basically a realtor turn in like how much money and how many sales they had,
right,
to get awards for it. So it's like realtor award ceremony. And so I was over that. It was really interesting because I knew I was going to have to help. Well, I thought I was going to have to help, but I ended up me being me taking over the whole thing. It was challenging because at that time we didn't really use technology like that.
right.
They weren't as much of a fan of it, so I had to do a lot of things manually. Like I was manually accepting people's entries to be a part of the awards, and I had to advertise it all. And yeah, and it was like I said, like 500 participants. So that was a lot. Like my desk looked horrible. Like it was bad. And but it all worked out. I helped select the venue and I helped set it up. It all turned out great. I remember like my one of my coworkers, she thought my count was off when I told her how many people were coming because that many people had never came, and I was like, no, it's really happening. And sure enough, they actually came, and I really think me being consistent on media helps because prior to
Right.
that, I really didn't post. But this time, I was once I got it, I was always posting, always sending out newsletters, letting people know like here's deadline, make sure you're turning it in so that you can.
Right.
So I think just those reminders really drove people to come and raise that money because everybody had to pay a certain amount of money to be a part of the show. So
Right. How do you come up with all the ideas? Like for marketing, like what do you? I know, like
mhm.
I might Google something, or like you said, look at the company, what they're looking for, but you definitely got to make it engaging, like we talked about before. Like you just did there with the portfolio, that was so creative. And it, how do you find yourself finding a company like that, if that makes sense? I think we froze again. Froze, freeze. We'll give it another minute, but I'm going to talk to her when she comes back, but we're going to redo the interview again because I want to get her when it's really, really internet's working well. Right now, there's storms going on, but reach out to Brittany Sharnez when she comes back on. She'll sign on. Little Rock, Arkansas. Just looking for great work. If you watched her right here, what she showed you on her website, what she showed there was just creativity, where you can just say as an employer, oh, check out my portfolio, then make a magazine. What she did there was amazing, and things like that is what makes it comes to life, what makes creativity, like what makes you stand out from somebody else. And that's exactly what she does. I've never seen that before, that part, because I always talk about videos. So but it's the same thing. It's you're looking at somebody's work, you're seeing it, you're not just in an interview talking about it. And then how do you know when you're interviewing for this position what you just heard from Brittany? You wouldn't know it unless you interviewed her. If you see this, so if you're looking at this, I know she'll pop back on and we're going to tell her we're going to do it again. But I just want everybody to know that's the secret with getting your story out on social media, talking about your companies looking for workers, all the different things that you can think of. This is the kind of employee that you really want to reach out to. And I'm going to give her another 30 seconds here, and she'll come back on. But we're definitely going to do the interview over again. I don't. Oh, there she is. Look at that. Hey, all
Okay.
right. Oh, now you're on your phone. Hey, I was just talking
Yes.
about you, and we're going to do the. I was telling them everything that you were saying, but we're
Uh-huh.
going to do the show again.
Thank you.
Yes, we're going to do it again. And what I want to talk about is just like I told you before, why why should a company hire you? What are you looking in for a company, and why should they hire you?
Um, well, I think that a company should hire me because I am results driven. I think that that's very important because I'm a creative, so I'm really great on the creative side. I love creating content, making things look beautiful and just exciting and fun and upbeat. But at the same time, I also it's important to make sure that I'm hitting the metrics, whether that's driving up engagement or getting more followers or getting more clicks or getting more views to a website. Those two things are important for me. Also, I really feel like I'm a great hire because my storytelling abilities. I always try to find the story in any industry that I work with, and I've worked with a lot of different industries. Like, working with a comic strip about animals definitely sounds strange
That's awesome.
to some people, but I found I found the story there, and working with a car dealership. I'm not a car person, but I found a story there. Or I've worked with a staffing agency, and I found a story there. So that's always what I'm looking for. Like, I'm always thinking when I'm learning about a client, I'm always like, okay, what story can I get out of this that I feel
Right.
like would hit with people? Because I feel like stories help brands be relatable, and that is what makes people want to follow you and be engaged with you, not just like, okay, you're just constantly, selling. Like, no, I feel like that's what helps them connect. So I feel like
Right.
those are the two most important things. And lastly, I'm very resourceful. Like, I'm always learning. And it's just something I like to do, like just on my personal time. So I feel like that's what's really important. And as far as like what I'm looking for, I'm looking for a place that provides longevity. I'm hoping to find like a work home where I can grow and expand and do a lot of great things. I'm hoping for a place that'll allow me to be my creative self. I always have a lot of ideas. I call myself the ideas person. And
Right.
so I really love places that encourage me to, express my ideas and let's say, okay, well, that's a great idea or that's a crazy idea, but let's try it anyway.
Right.
I'm really looking for that and just friendly people.
Oh, we all want that. But,
Yes.
I appreciate you coming on, and we're going to do this again,
Okay.
but it was kind of, hey, we were just talking about you when you weren't there, and like I said, what I got out of this tonight, Britt, and I got to tell you, that portfolio, you should patent that. You should patent that because you took that time. And I got to tell you, if I ever had a candidate that took that kind of time and brought it to an interview,
Mhm.
I would be, you're hired. I'm sorry. So really take pride in that. That's
Mhm.
something, an
Thank
accomplishment
you.
there alone. But, everybody, like I said, we're going to do this interview again, but we didn't do too bad. We knew there was a storm, and we only had to sign on 3 times. That's about it. So, we're going to see everybody probably again tomorrow. We're going to figure this out, and I want to get
Okay.
you back on here. All right, Britt?
Okay. Thank
So
you
I'm going
so
to talk
much.
to you right after this, and we're going to end it with here. I'll be right back.